Hello, hello, hello. Match preview is back. Ron from City Soccer Talk is with me as always. And tonight, Baz from the MLS Show from across the pond is joining in to preview Montreal. Say hello, Baz.
Hello, Baz.
Fair enough. And so we're going to preview Montreal. We're going to hop right in. And since we don't have a Montreal expert, I just looked up their starting 11 from last week. And they have Evan Bush in goal. They go Owango on the right back. Cabrera and Seaman came in on their center halves. Tissot on the left. Then they have one CDM and Donadell. And then they have a front four that consists of Piatti, Bernier, Ship, Oduro, and Drogba. And we know Drogba's not going to play, so I'm assuming that they will put Oduro up top and put in Kyle Becker. He seems to be their, 12th man, so to speak. So, Baz, can you shed any light on Montreal for us?
Thanks for coming to me for the difficult one. Yeah, I've been impressed with Montreal this season. I think once Drogba's in there, they're a lot better. But obviously Piatti, he has got some serious skills on him. Piatti, he's a really good finisher. We've seen, I think the goal of Vancouver when he went round everyone, including us, and put it in, and he scored a cracker at Columbus. Went the little drag back and the whip. So yeah, he's danger man. I think they're a team that goes right to the end. We've seen them get late goals through a Euro at New York. We saw them come back from 4-1 down at Columbus with another late goal from a Euro. So they're a side that the front four or five are really, really good. I've been really impressed with Harry Ship as well. I think he's definitely gone up a level. I think since he's gone on to Montreal. Like you just said, Drogba looks as though he's not going to be playing in the game. He's a talisman. He's been fabulous, hasn't he? There would have been question marks as to whether he could continue his form from last season coming into this season, and he's picked up where he left off, despite him not wanting to play on plastic pitches. So he's come back amongst the goals, hasn't he, straight away. So that's a big plus, I would say, from Orlando's point of view. The fact that Drogba won't be available this week.
And then I know that Montreal, although in first in the East, is not in the best of form. Ron, do you want to talk about their recent, their last 5 games?
Well, obviously, not having Drogba is big, but they've won 2 of their 4 games without Drogba, actually. So they're very capable of putting on a good performance without him. Obviously, you'd want him there, but although they're winless in 5, they only lost one of those matches, so they've been at least been able to accumulate points here lately. So, but I think Orlando's got a good shot this weekend to get off the snide. It seemed like we kind of knew that we were going to be the way that Red Bulls got out of their slump and the way that SKC got out of their slump. But maybe Montreal can be that for us, a way for us to get out of our slump. But it's going to take a lot better effort than what we saw last weekend, that's for sure.
And personally, I don't want to see Drogba this weekend because our center halves are really shaky. So I know you said you'd want to see him run. I don't want to see him. I'm glad he's not playing. I usually am not a fan of the turf and the pitch, but this week I think it could really favor us. And guys, do you want to talk about how our center halves could maybe look a little better not having to mark Drogba?
I think everyone will be happy in that marking Drogba, although as Ron said, you've got a Joro and Piatti's a danger, isn't he? I think the problem for Orlando City so far this season has been that pairing at the back is just there's nobody that you would say is pulled up any trees, is there? Obviously we've got Redding in there who has looked really good but is only young. Seb Hines is great one week and all over the place the next week. I call him Matthias, but it's Matthias, is it? Well, and you know him, so Matthias, I'll call him Matthias. He's another one. He's commanding in the air, but he's so slow. Takes him 3 years to turn around, doesn't it? So but it does. I mean, up against someone like a Joro who's got real pace about them, that's a problem. And for me, I think going forward, Orlando City look, really, really, really strong at times, but at the back, I mean, against KC last week, it was a little bit of a mauling, wasn't it? It was 30 odd shot, and the 30 odd attempts at goal tells you that we're not working hard enough without the ball. And that's, you know, I've seen it in the UK with Everton, my side, you know, under Roberto Martinez, just not working hard enough without the ball ends up in causing you problems. And the other side, Orlando City doing exactly the same at the moment. But I think it shows you when you haven't got the two tigers together in midfield, it's just a different side altogether. Carrasco has come in and has done okay, but without, you know, Sheringham and Higuita together, we are a different opposition. And I think the other person that's been unfortunate not to be involved a bit more is Winter. I think Nocerino.
It's over for him.
Yeah, not at the moment. Maybe later on in the season when he gets up to speed, he may be able to come in and provide something. But I think the Winter needs to be in there at the moment just to give them that little bit of a spark, because we're getting nothing. I mean, I even spoke the other day on one of the shows we've done. It might have just been the results reaction show. Is that I think that last year some of our best football was when Bowden was at left back and Breck Shea was further on. Bowden's left foot's fantastic. Shea, energy, although I nearly boosted the TV through twice on Sunday when he should have squared it to Laram. But you know, that's another option that we can go down, because at the moment for me, the left-hand side with Nocerino and without having Sheringham and Higuita, and then compounded by not having a commanding centre half, is why Orlando City are much higher in the league.
All right. Well, you
Sorry
just
for that
put.
long-winded answer.
Oh, no, it's okay. I was just about to say that you put a lot on me there, so we'll break it down into segments. And the first part of that I want to address there is about Bowden coming in, and I think Shea got a little nick in the game and got subbed, and I'm personally excited to see Bowden come in. I think, although we lose some of the speed because Bowden is often a little slow, I don't positionally he's much better in the formation because he's been in the formation much longer, and he is a much more steady left back than Bowden, in my opinion. Ron, do you want to elaborate?
Well, I mean, if you're just replacing him for a game or two, I don't mind Bowden. I mean, it's a like for like replacement. He's a better defender than Shea. I think he's not as good a defender as people make him out to be, but he is better than Shea. Moving Shea up, I don't know. To be honest, I haven't been impressed with Breck Shea at any position. So, you know, I just prefer Adrian Vinter on the left or Molino on the left, or they can change up, do whatever they want. But if you have to put Bowden in there for a game, yeah, certainly. It gives us an ability, if we ever were able to draw a foul in the opponent's half, Bowden could deliver some good service in there as well. So, yeah, it doesn't bother me at all or worry me that if Shea has to miss a game. But at some point, we have to figure out this conundrum of what Shea is going to be, or, you know, if they can't figure out a place for him, then maybe they need to look to deal him somewhere. But you know, he's still got a lot of talent. I mean, you saw when he makes those runs that he did on Sunday. That was really Orlando City's only way to attack. So when you see those kind of runs from left back, that's what makes you realize, wow, he might be able to be something special. But we can't have Antonio Nocerino above him providing little to no cover. And then SKC just knew it. They said, we're going to attack Breck Shea all game, and the results spoke for themselves.
And you know, I thought Breck Shea didn't trek back very well after he made those runs, and it left Carrasco kind of covering over there in the left where he's not supposed to be really. Baz, did you see any of that, or is there anything like that you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, I think you're right. I think the problem is when you've got your left back having to make a 100-yard dash almost to get up and support, your left-sided player has to tuck in. He has to just supply that extra bit of cover, because then Shea can track back, jog back into a position. Your left-sided players should do it. Nocerino isn't doing one or the other. He's not offering anything going forward, and he's not offering anything going the other way. And that's what I'm saying to you in terms of having Bowden and Shea over on that side. You're always going to have somebody in position. I totally agree with the pair here in terms of Bowden plays the defensive side of the game probably better than Breck in terms of he holds the position. I think Breck Shea is unrivaled in the side in terms of that break-up down that left-hand side, the pace. I think Winter can offer it without a shadow of a doubt. I think Kevin Molino, he's another one. He's got something. He's got a real talent, but he's another one. He doesn't know when to release the ball at the moment, and that'll come. The more he plays, it'll come. But I think you're both right. It's just a little bit of it's getting a couple of the key issues, the key positions nailed down in that side. I feel as though at the moment there's still too many questions over 3 or 4 positions, and certainly that left-hand side, Nocerino is causing a problem for Brexit because he's leaving him exposed, and he's causing a problem for Adrian Heath at the moment because he's not given enough either way.
Sam, real quick, I mean, we can break down that Sporting Kansas City game a lot of different ways and place blame a lot of different places. But really, when you think about it, this team is going to be hard-pressed to pick up any points when they don't have Christian Higuita on the field. He is so important for us. I know I said this last week and probably the week before and the week before. But if we get him back on the pitch, it solves a lot of problems. We've looked poor with him on the pitch, but there's no cohesion between the attackers and the defense on this team. They're playing as 2 separate units. The defense doesn't get out quick enough. The offense is left on an island because the holding mids aren't getting up farther enough, and that's where Higuita really can kind of bridge the 2 together. So, I mean, having him back, Orlando City will look much better this week just because he'll be back.
And before we go forward, I just want to get this out of there so nobody gets confused. Do we all agree that we're going to stay in the same formation in the 4-2-3-1, and we're going to see Bowden, we're going to see Mateos, we're going to see Redding, we're going to see Ramos. Then in the 2 in the defensive mids, we're going to see Carrasco, and we're going to see Higuita because Serin is injured. Then across the front 3, we're going to see Kaká in the middle, Molino on the right, hopefully Winter on the left, and Larin up top. Is that the general sentiment from the 3 of us before we move on? Because I know we kind of just jumped all around and we didn't get that out there. So, Baz, do you think that's going to be the formation, or do you think this might be a formation change? And then Ron, I think you agree with me most likely. So, Baz first.
Yeah, I think he probably will stick with that. I think there's times for me when I would go with probably Baptista up there with Larin, just to get someone to take that. I think Kyle Larin sometimes for me is just too isolated, and he's too isolated trying to be the battering ram and trying to be the runner. And I think when Baptista is in there, although he's not being fantastic, don't get me wrong, but when he's in there, he can take a lot of the weight off Larin. And I think if you can get Kyle Larin running in behind people, he will score goals. There's no doubt about it. He will score goals. I just think sometimes we get too caught up in the fact that there's nobody near him when he gets the ball, and it's trying to get people around him. Molino is a bag of tricks. Kaká is fantastic. Don't get me wrong, he's brilliant, but he's not back up to speed after that niggling injury. And like we're saying, Nocerino just hasn't offered anything. So it's got to be Winter in there, and that maybe gives Larin a little bit more support. But I would definitely like to see Adrian mix it up a little bit and get Baptista right up alongside them and start giving teams a different threat to worry about. So they turn up thinking it's a 4-2-3-1, and we change 10 minutes into the second half and it's 4-4-2. And they're like, well, we've got 2 big physical men to mark now, as well as 2 quick. I know it would mean a change in position for Kaká, but he can float off either flank. Either flank, as can Kevin Molino, and then it's down to your 2 holding midfielders then to really give that solidity.
All right, Ron.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out a way that you could start Baptista, but then you said bring him on as a sub, and I like that much better. I think one of the things I've been so disappointed with Adrian Heath is his inability to change the shape or to make some adjustments in the second half to really give Orlando City something extra that they need, whether it's to help them hold a lead or hold on to a draw. I just don't think it's been there, and I think Baptista can do that. Like last week, I was disappointed that he brought Baptista on for Larin. I thought he should have brought Baptista on with Larin. That would have changed the shape and maybe given us the ability to hold the ball up there longer, get the defense, out of the back, get the ball in their half of the field. That can waste 2 or 3 minutes, or maybe you draw a foul. I mean, we needed to look for something to help that game, to stall that game out a little longer, and that sub of Baptista for Larin just didn't do anything, and that's what disappointed me. So I do like the fact of Baptista and Larin playing on the field at the same time.
And Ron, the other thing it does as well, if you've got 2 players like those 2, and you're missing Serin or Higuita in the middle, it allows you an outball. It allows you to almost take the midfield out the game. So you can play a little bit more direct. We can knock balls into channels and let Baptista and Larin run the channels. it gets rid of that necessity to have those two in the middle. So if you're light, it's great when they're there because they hunt in packs, those two. They know each other's game. They're fantastic. When one of them's missing, Carrasco does a decent job, don't get me wrong, but it's not up to the level of those two. And I just think you're right. If he would have put back, I was amazed he took Laden off, to be honest with you. If he would have left Batista and Laden off, just dropped Kaka in to protect and just gone a little bit more direct, I think it would have pushed Sport and Kansas City back 10 yards because they would have had two people to mark, would have stopped them breaking out. And when your defence was under so much pressure as it was, and Bendit was keeping us in it with some amazing saves, the dam's going to burst at some stage, you know. And if you can turn things around, if you can knock a ball into a channel and get Larin or Batista running after it, they can't throw caution to the wind because they're susceptible to the breakaway. And I think you're right. I think Inchi got his tactics a little bit wrong on Sunday, and it ended up in us losing the game.
Ron, you say something? You leaned in like you wanted to.
No, I agree with all that. I think we're on the same page when it comes to what happened Sunday.
Okay, and then in this game, and not even just in this game, but moving forward, I think they said that Surin is going to be out 5 or 6 weeks, so I think we're going to end up seeing a lot of Carrasco, and I think that's okay. I think we have worse subs, and I think Higuita is going to Copa with Colombia, if I'm not right. So I don't know what we're going to do when that happens. Maybe we're going to see Harrison Heath. I have no idea. But anyways, for this game, hopefully Higuita can be the wild animal that he is and maybe mark Piatti a little bit and slow him down. I know you're not going to stop him because our center backs certainly aren't going to do it really anything unless Redding puts out a stellar performance like he did against NYC. So that deep breath and the sigh is kind of my sentiments about how we're playing and how I feel I've been struggling through these match previews because our games have been so poor and I don't know what to expect next week. So, I mean, I agree with everything that they said also, and I'm just kind of rambling now. If there's not really any final points, I mean, we think we know what we're gonna see from Orlando City. We might see a big formation change. We can just go to score predictions and hope for the best.
Can I just
absolutely, yeah.
I personally, I don't think it's been that bad. I think maybe. I don't honestly. I've watched every minute of every game. Stay up all hours of the night. I've watched everything. I think last week was pretty horrendous. Don't get me wrong, but that was by far and above the worst performance of the season. It was really, really bad. I think Red Bulls away wasn't great, but we're winning 1-0 in that game. If Omelette or Weemet or whatever he's called gets sent off like he should do, I call him Omelette. But if he would if he would have got sent off, it was 1-0 and a red card against 10 men. I think we probably win the game. So and the other thing is they're in there, aren't they? They're not too far off. We're still in there without really. I don't think we've clicked. I think we saw the potential of Orlando City kind of September time last year when we went on that 5. We went to Red Bulls and won 5-2 and things like that. Battered Sport in Kansas City at home and all of that. I think that's the potential. I think the problem is, for me, I think he needs to address that centre-back position. I think if I would have been Flavio and been in there, I would have been going hell for leather for John Terry. I would. I know, but you're laughing, Ron, but he would go in there, he'd bring Redding on incredibly, and immediately, what you don't have, and this is probably my UK influence here, but I just don't think, if you look around MLS, I think Portland have got the best centre-back in terms of Ridgewell, in terms of organisation. I know there's better centre-backs in terms of technical ability or whatever, but there's not many in MLS who are proper organisers at the back. And I think Orlando City, especially with over these next few weeks, with not having Seren and Higuita, where's that core going to come from? Where's that iron? The 4 that you would have, your 2 centre midfield players and your 2 centre backs that make up that defensive core. Where is it without them? There's nobody there. If you've got, Orlando City could go and pick up a really good centre back, I think it would solve a multitude of sins for them. And I think while it hasn't been great, I don't think it has been as bad as everybody's making out. And I think, listen, bottom of the league with 2 points, yeah, all day long, but a couple of wins and they're back on top.
All right. Well, Ron, do you want to go first in addressing him, or do you want me to go first? Because I got some stuff to say.
Go for it.
Okay. Well, first of all, you say that you don't think it's been that bad, and obviously, I respect your opinion, and I like you as a person, and I just I kind of disagree, and the reason that I disagree is because and I've been saying this for whatever it's been, 3 or 4 weeks, and I feel like a broken record, and I'm gonna keep saying it until it gets fixed. But we don't defensively close teams out, and we turn the ball over in the midfield habitually, and it's the same two things that kill us over and over and over again. And, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing and expecting a different result, and we're getting the same result doing the same thing. So it's like when
I've just watched Everton for 2 years. It's 2 years, not 4 weeks. 2 years doing exactly the same thing over and over again. Trust me, it's been nowhere near as bad as watching Everton. But I think, can I just address the turning the ball over? Because this is coming a period when Kaká's been missing for most of it, and this is a man that, when he's up to speed, everything he does is fantastic. Well, not everything, but a lot of what he does is the big part of Orlando City in terms of creating. But I do agree, they have been giving the ball away ridiculously, at times. But carry on. Sorry for interrupting.
No, it's okay, and that's just why I think it's bad, is because we just are having the same problems that aren't getting addressed. So it's like, there's nothing that's been done on the field that's leading me to believe that these two issues are going to get fixed. Like, honestly, I don't care who plays and who doesn't play and who's in form and who's not in form, as long as we start closing teams out defensively and stop turning the ball over in the midfield. If those two things happen, I could care less what 11 players are there, because it's team-wide issues. It's not just, yes, Notarino's been really bad, but he's not the only one turning the ball over. Yes, we're not closing teams out defensively, and we've mixed and matched all of our center backs the whole season. So, it's not just an isolated, and it's a team effort that is what's bothering me, and, it's just over and over. We haven't closed a team out defensively since Portland. We haven't had, we've only had one other good defensive performance other than Portland, and that's New York City. So why isn't that? Why? And I understand we need a center back. We needed a center back before the season started. Yeah. We traded away Colin, who was our best center back last season.
The only thing with Colin is he leaves his position though. He's a good battler, but he chases balls up to the halfway line when he doesn't need to. And I think that's, to me, I think when I spoke to Adrian when I was over there, the concerns were people leaving those defensive positions. I don't know what's gone on this year, but I was surprised that he was traded, especially when there's no ready-made replacements, although obviously they feel as though Tommy Redding can do it. But the question mark for me is over the other two. It's not really over Redding. He's a young kid in the game.
I mean, and they can put in Connor Donovan when he's ready. He got 5 minutes last year before he hurt his knee. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know that he's gonna, I don't know he's gonna be any worse than Mateos or Hines.
I think what people, sure, you can sit here and say it's not that bad because you look at the table and they're still right there, but they're always gonna be right there. I mean, are we gonna sit here and be super happy because we're in 7th or 8th and we're only a couple points out when literally we're still the 16th or 17th best team in the league? So I think people want to see more progress. This league is built around parity. It's built to be able to compete now. This franchise was given Kyle Larin on a golden platter to start off. So there isn't an excuse to sit around for 3 or 4 years and not get the job done. And what people are frustrated about is they feel like Sam said earlier that things aren't changing from week to week. It's okay to have bad games. It's okay to, you're going to turn the ball over. You're going to do this. But when Adrian Vinter is in the best form he's been for in Orlando City, and then he disappears for 2 matches, that leaves the fans frustrated, and I think rightfully so. And it hasn't even been addressed by Heath himself. I don't know why some of the reporters over there don't ask the question more often, but I think that's what frustrates people. This team has talent. This team can be a contender this year. I think we saw glimpses of it in the beginning of the year. And I think frustration is okay. I mean, I don't think we're just happy to be in MLS anymore. We want to win. We want to be good. And the front office does too. So, I think the frustration is valid, and they have a point. But then again, you're right. 2-game win streak, and all of a sudden, you're in third place probably.
Well, and just to further, I guess, Baz, your point and what Ron just said, before we saw Red Bulls, they hadn't won a game in 6. They come beat us, win one, win the next one big, draw one, and now they're ahead of us on the table. So, I mean, it's still bunched up, but it just, just because it's bunched up, like, I don't want to be under the line. I don't think we should be under the line at any point during the season. They set it out last year and we failed, defy expectations for the playoffs, didn't make it. They set it out this year, defy expectations again for the playoffs, and what are we doing? We're sitting around with our pants around our ankles, not defending anybody. That's what we're doing, and it's not getting any better.
Listen, if we're sat here after 20 games and it's the same, I'm there with you. I watched most of the games, if not all of them, over the weekend. Someone hooks me up, I watch the games, I watch them back again, obviously for the show we do. And with the exception of 2 or 3 teams, I don't see they're that far behind. I really don't. I think there's issues, and I think you're right. The winter one is a head scratcher. I just wonder sometimes whether Nocerino's wage, Nocerino's profile is getting him in the team rather than ability, because at the minute he's not showed anything. And this is a player who I'd seen for Milan and thought he's decent. How you come in, he's decent on the ball. He showed absolutely nothing. And I think the biggest statement Aidan Heath can do probably this weekend is take him out, and that'll show. I mean, a big criticism that we give Roberto Martinez over there when he was at Everton was doing the same thing every weekend, not being able to see things the fans were seeing or telling us we were seeing something different. So I understand the frustration, I really do. And
how do you feel if you're the players and Adrian Vinter has done everything to deserve to be in the 11, and Antonio Nocerino has done absolutely nothing but collect a massive paycheck? That's the only reason he deserves to be in the 11. I think that would I would question that if I was one of the fringe players and say, well, what's going on here?
I totally agree. Listen, we had whether you're gonna like this or not, I'm not sure, but we had the situation at Everton with Mr. Howard. With him having an absolute nightmare, and because he was Roberto Martinez's lieutenant in the dressing room, he wouldn't be dropped. We got an injury. Joel came in last year, Everton second goalkeeper, 4 clean sheets in 6 games. Howard was fit again. Joel was back out the team. Howard comes in, continues to drop clangers till the end of the season, is still in. So I understand, as fans, we're like, play the people who are in form. Play the people who are in form. If Nocerino is tearing it up, play him every single week. If he isn't, and Winter is, get Winter in. The thing is, never go full Rivas. Never get Rivas on. He's just.
Are you playing with Ron? You're playing with Ron's emotions now.
Oh God, Rivas is just. He's one of those. He's like one of those shiny toys that should be amazing. And does loads of cool things, but no one quite knows how to. The remote control has come with no instructions. You can never ever get it to do what you want. That's what he's like.
All I'll say about Rivas is, yes, he's frustrating. He has a lot of flaws, but I don't expect. How are we ever going to grow him as a player if he plays 5 minutes a game? Either send him to OCB and get him some minutes, or do something. But this little cameo appearance with 5 minutes left, he's just not going to improve ever that way. And we're in year 2 of this, and he's a DP on the books. They got to figure out a better way to deal with him.
I think OCB this year is perfect for the likes of Rivas. It's literally get him off there for a couple of weeks, get him, like you say, get him 90 minutes for 3-4 weeks on the run, get his confidence up, and then bring him back in. And maybe it's just his decision making, really. That's the problem with him. He gets into great areas, and then it's the wrong decision. But I feel as though I'm just throwing all kinds at you now that you're there.
But then you look at him and you just said he gets into great areas. But I'm not seeing many other players get into great areas. And that's always been my thing with Rivas, is sure, he creates a lot of things, and then he almost always follows it up with a boneheaded move. But I'm like, well, nobody else is creating. Nobody else is beating people. Nobody else is attacking somebody on the dribble. Nobody else is running in behind. So he offers a lot of things that I just don't ever see. And that's why I like him. He can be a spark plug, and he already had a big goal this year. So anyways, I don't want to talk about Rivas anymore.
No, I'm just saying, you're right, because it's players with pace, isn't it? And he's got pace to burn, and something quite ironically Nocerino doesn't have. But anyway.
No, Torino's almost as slow as Mateos. That's just me being harsh. Anyway, so there's just some thoughts about the game. I think we'll see what we see. We'll go to score predictions. We're going here. Ron, I'll let you go first.
Orlando City's going to win 2-1. They're going to. I think Kyle Aaron gets back on track and gets a goal. I think if Adrian Winter starts, which I'm praying he does, I think he finds the back of the net. If Adrian Winter starts and finds the back of the net, I mean, sure, we're all going to be happy they scored, but I think all the fans are going to be like, well, damn it,
It's about time.
Where's he been? So we'll see how that happens. But, with Montreal without Drogba, they've had a problem closing out games too. They've either been able to come back or they give up late goals. So I think we're due for a win, and I think the whole organization and the whole town I don't know. I think they're due. I think they're gonna help us get off the snide.
All right, Baz.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with Ron. I think we'll win this 2-1. I think Larin will score, and I think Kakar from the penalty spot with the other one. And I hope it isn't even a penalty, and the referee gives it. The amount of bad calls already this season is winding me up. So I hope it's not a penalty, and we get it, and Kakar scores from it. So 2-1 to OC.
All right, I'm hoping that a little bit of home cooking this week will do the trick. And Camping World Stadium, there's probably only Portland and Seattle are even close supporter-wise, but they're not up to our standards down here. They can eat their heart outs. We have the wall. And with that said, the home cooking, the supporters, and 2 games at home, I think that we are going to turn it around. I think it's going to be an absolute shootout because I don't think we could stop anybody. So I'm going to go with 4-3 or 3-2, something big like that. I think it's just going to be goal after goal, and we end up winning just because we're at home and we need it. So that's all I got. Baz, could you please tell everybody where, if they probably already know, but can you tell them where they can find you on social media and a little bit about your shows?
Yeah, okay, so on social media, we are at the MLS Show, so you can follow us on there. You can follow me if you really want to, and that is THT1878 on Twitter as well. Yeah, basically, although I've lost Ped at the moment, I will have him back with me over the next couple of weeks. We basically do MLS Show. We release videos. It's 3 or 4 videos a week about Major League Soccer. I need to do a little bit more Orlando. I've let other people have their say, but I'm bringing OC right back. Yeah. So if you fancy it, give us a little watch there.
All right, and Ron, you can shout yourself out. Everybody should know you already.
Yeah, City Soccer Talk on Twitter, Facebook, citysoccertalk.com. So yeah, we do a good podcast, but I'm sure everybody knows that already. So
yep,
that's it for me.
I would assume so. Well, that's all for our time, and thank you for your time. Peace out.
See you guys.